Today we're talking about anger, right?
Yes, absolutely. I think you were about to share your story in the previous live, like 5 minutes ago,
Oh man,
about the.
it's so I had two. Well, I had one story already lined up, and then I thought about another story. And so everybody that's watching that's military, because I got a lot of military friends that tune into us. Um, I was a staff sergeant, so I had been in for the Air Force for about 7, 8 years, and I still had an anger issue. And my boss told me, "Hey, um, we have these government credit cards," and he says, "Okay, I'm gonna." He decided I'm gonna keep. He's gonna keep the government credit cards for everybody in the office, and I didn't want him to keep my government credit card because if he went and charged something, he could say it was me, you know, and I didn't really trust him. So I said, no, I don't feel comfortable with that. And he says, well, it's not a matter of if you feel comfortable, it's just happening. So deal with it. And I'm like, no, you could cut my card up and take me off of the program, but I'm not going to let you have my card. So he says, Sergeant Armstrong, I don't know what about this makes you think that it's a discussion. Like I'm telling you, I'm taking the cards for the office, and there's a lot of discussion about that. So we worked in this thing called a skiff. It's a vault, and the whole room. It's a huge room, but it's all steel, right? It's a big steel room, and
Soundproof. It's soundproof.
it's soundproof. Yeah, absolutely. And so I went over and I slammed the vault door. And when you slam it, it shakes the whole vault like. So I slammed the fucking vault door, and I was like, Sergeant Quintanilla was his name. I was like, Sergeant Quintanilla, I'm telling you, you're not gonna talk to me like that. You're not my daddy. Blah blah blah. And I was so pissed off with him, you know. And obviously, I got into a lot of trouble after that. Luckily, I didn't lose rank or get kicked out or anything, but it was not the right move. My temper got the best of me. And it was absolutely uncalled for. Uncalled for. Oh, my goodness. I just thought about that. Just thought about that.
But of course, it's not the right thing to get angry. But what I noticed is that you were right in this situation. You were actually right and not wrong in this scenario, and because you let the anger get the best of you,
Yeah.
you were at fault at the end. You know.
Yeah, exactly. I was, yeah, had I said, well, maybe we should talk to his boss or handle it a little better, I wouldn't have gotten in trouble. But certainly losing my temper, slamming the vault door, cussing at my boss, it's not the right move. Yeah, not the right move.
I can
Oh my
totally
God.
feel you, bro. And the reason is because during my teenage years and even after, when I was a university student, I had a lot of anger issues, and the reason I started handling everything instead of just bursting with nerves and whatever is because I realized after many years that every time I let my anger get the best of me, I would lose
Yeah.
again and again and again. Even if I was right in the situation, I would lose. So I
Yep.
said, I hate to lose, especially when I'm right.
Yeah.
So I
That.
don't want to be out of control anymore. So whenever something irritates me, I will handle myself. And it took, as you written in the description of the event, it needs dedication, it needs focus, it needs
Yeah.
effort. It's not easy.
It's
But the
not easy.
benefit
It's
of
not overnight. Um,
absolutely, absolutely. And it's a
you
good thing
know,
that we have a bunch of stuff to share with our friends,
I
about
know,
our
right?
anger.
It's good that everybody's here. Man, I'll tell you something. When I was a kid, I used to fight all the time, all the time. If one of my former classmates or one of my classmates, is out there watching, put in the description if you remember me fighting. I'm sure there's some stories out there of me constantly fighting in junior high and high school, constantly fighting. And I would punch walls when I got mad. I'd break knuckles, I'd break walls. And in the wall, okay, so for those of you that are not in the States, the walls in the States are not concrete like they are here in Greece. All the walls here in Greece are cement. So you think twice about punching them like after the first time. In the States, the walls are actually they're not even wood. They're what's the composite material that walls are made of? It's like board. Some walls are wood, and then there's I forget the name of the material, but they're not.
I know, but it's the one that breaks.
Yeah, it's not solid wood, so you can break them pretty easily. But every I think it's 3 feet. There's wood, 2x4, sheetrock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you, Angela Smith. Sheetrock, so it's sheetrock, and I think it's 3 feet. If you know Angela, I think it's every 3 feet you have a beam, and so that beam is solid, thick wood. It's a 2x4, and every now and then you hit right. You punch a wall and you hit that damn beam. Oh, it's like hitting rock. Oh my goodness.
It's a good thing that you have walls that break in the USA, because I was punching the ones that are not breaking.
Yeah, man, if you do that more than once, then something's wrong with you. You don't learn very easily.
I've done it during my teenage years. I think I've punched a wall like 2 or 3 times during the
Really?
years, out of anger.
Yeah, man, that's no bueno.
And some of the times I was just angry with the situation, not even with someone, and I was alone.
Yeah.
So imagine being angry, not even because someone got you angry, but because of a situation, and not being able to, we are both people of great energy. So
Yeah.
even when we are angry, we have a lot of energy to unleash. But the thing is, what everybody that gets really angry needs to learn is how to unleash this energy with control and with the right way, instead of a harmful way.
Yeah. Yeah.
You said that you were getting in fights. This is exactly my story during my high school and junior high school years. So basically, since I was 7 years old, that I started getting in my first fight, until 17 years old, for this good 10 years, I was constantly getting in fights, especially in junior high and high school. Almost every week,
Really?
Yes, and it wasn't very serious, because, well, at least at my eyes, I wasn't sending anyone to the hospital. I wasn't getting to the hospital. It was just punches. But it could have been worse sometimes. And the thing I couldn't realize back then, until I get to a higher level, is that this was my way of handling things, because I didn't know a better way.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
I wouldn't use my mouth and my brain. I would use my punches, when I was irritated.
Yeah. I tell you.
And we are boys with testosterone, but this is not the excuse,
No, not at all. Not at all. That's part of, I'm developing this team mentoring program, and that's part of the coursework for the parents, is how to control or help your children control their anger, because it's a huge deal. But so one of the things I wrote down is anger. Feeling angry is normal and natural. However, while we're angry, we often lose we have long-term consequences. Sorry. So when we're angry, we have these outbursts, and exactly what we're talking about. We end up having long-term consequences. Like I could have gotten kicked out of the Air Force. You could have gotten seriously injured. You know, if you ran into a guy like me.
I run into guys like you, and I run into multiple guys. Where I grew up, we didn't fight one on one. We were fighting multiple people.
Yeah.
So my, my last fight at 17 years old, I couldn't count the guys that were on me. My friends were taking bodies off me, and they were coming back to me. You know, like
Well,
it
you
was.
like to start some shit, didn't you?
And you know what happened? Most of the times I was fighting, it was to protect somebody else.
Oh.
So my last fight, it was to protect my best friend, Nikos, at the time, you know. We are best friends until this time now. Someone came to kick his ass in
And
high
you
school.
jumped in for him?
Oh, totally. You can't. They forgot about him when I jumped in. When I jumped in, they forgot they came for him. They jumped
They
on me.
jumped on you?
I was so audacious when I fight that I was attracting all the attention.
Jeez.
But you know, it's a good thing that we have left all these things in the past. You know that.
Oh man, it's work though, and that's why we're talking about this, and that's why we're trying to make sure that we give you guys, everyone that's on here watching, everyone that's going to watch this later, some techniques, some tips, some tricks, some ways to be a little more thoughtful before you just start doing. Oh, we got Vasily Key here. Vasily Key just got our ear done. So guys, look. Do you have to actually display your anger when you're upset? Is that a, you know, do you have to? Do you actually have no choice over it? And obviously the answer is no, you don't have to display your anger or your frustration when you're angry. A lot of times we end up seeing our parents or our family handle their anger in such ways, and we mimic those behaviors. We end up just getting it passed along like it's a genetic trait, right? Oh, this is how I'm supposed to, you know, handle an argument with my spouse or my girlfriend. I'm supposed to choke the shit out of her or hit her or whatever. And this happens, like, and it's just learned behavior. I've watched my mom get the hell beat out of her all the time, and I got the hell beat out of me all the time by my stepfather. And so when I became an adult, it was normal to me. I thought if I got upset with my spouse, I should shake her or slap her, right? Because that's what I was taught. That's what my parents, right, taught me. So a lot of times when you're getting angry, and then you have these outbursts where you're not in control and you're not thinking with a level head. It's learned behavior. So how do you break that? How do you break years of learned behavior? Well, first you see this video and you go, that's me.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That's me.
First you need to realize
you
have the problem.
You got to be honest with yourself. Otherwise, you're going to BS yourself into your grave or until somebody else's grave, right? You could kill a person, you know?
What was your reason to change your behavior and start seeking a solution? What was the thing that made you?
The Air Force made me go to anger management classes. I got arrested for hitting my wife when I was, you know, in my 20s, my early 20s. So I was forced by the judge to go to anger management classes. And so that started the consequence forced the change, but the training helped the change stick, right? So if you have a consequence for something, you might do it again if the consequence isn't too big, right? But the training, right, the anger management classes made the change, or made the change stick, right? Made me go, this is not behavior that I really want to have. And it was training like this. It was one-on-one training, which I'll definitely offer anybody that wants to do one-on-one training. But it takes effort. It takes a concerted effort on your part. It can't be anyone else. It's you.
Exactly.
You're the one who's controlling this behavior, right?
You know, for me, what started the change from fighting for my first 10 years of life, like from 7, you can imagine, how much of a fight I could do in 7, but still I was fighting with the other 7-year-old.
Yeah.
So from 7 until 17, I was fighting constantly. This was my way of handling things. What started a procedure in my head, it was my father would tell me for years, don't fight, because you never know what could happen in a fight. There's always someone bigger than you. There's someone that might fight not fair. He might use a knife. He might use whatever. You never know if you hit somebody and you might kill him. You didn't mean to kill him. You were just fighting, you know. And there's the human life is very fragile, he would tell me. And then he shared some stories. Like I remember a very defining story at the almost when I was 16, maybe 17. He told me that a friend of his, that he was a bodyguard, he met someone on the street with, you know, with he was in his car and the other guy was in his car. So for some reason they got out to fight, you know, verbally or even physically. So my father's friend was a bodyguard, but the other guy was a mafia guy, and he took out his gun. The mafia guy took out his gun. It put it on my father's friend, on his head. And this is where it ended. He didn't kill him, but imagine being a bodyguard, so feeling really macho and heavy, capable, and come across with a gun in your head.
Yeah.
So there is always someone bigger and stronger than you, or more dangerous.
Yeah.
And you never know how a fight will go. So by telling me all these things for years, he made me realize, and this is how I stopped fighting. I would fight verbally from there. So this was another journey to even stop verbally fighting. But at least I changed a level, you know? I stopped hitting people and getting hit. So people need to realize that this is a process with levels, that you get better and better, but you need to realize where you're getting with all this. You know, how bad are your results by letting yourself get angry and get in rage mode.
Yeah, I agree. And it's not just about fighting, you guys, either, because I want to make sure that this resonates, right? This gets across to everyone that doesn't control their anger, right? We all get angry, but what you do when you get angry, right? What you do,
Yeah.
do you throw your cat across the room? Do you kick your dog? Do you punch walls? Do you follow people on the road? Do you try to, push them off of the road, right? Because they cut you off. There's a million situations, right, that you can come across in life that can get you upset. And those things are external. You can't control what other people are going to do, but you certainly can control how you respond to what they do. So that's the point that I want to make sure that I get across in this first part is you have full control. It's not like I got angry and I didn't have control and that's it. That's BS. I told myself that for years. Well, it's out of my control because I was upset. And certainly I'm not saying that I'm perfect, right? But I certainly don't kick my dog or throw my cat across the room. I don't try to run people off the road. So
Or
let's go.
smash
So that's the
things
first.
in the house, huh?
Yeah, no, I don't hit the concrete walls. So that's the first section. I want to cover that first section because we're going to go into a section where we're doing a little bit of teaching, a little bit of training, giving you guys some ways to kind of handle that, right? So we often mimic, right, what we've seen, right? So you're a product of your environment. You're a product of your past. This is almost like a genetic trait that was passed on to you. Most likely you've seen someone in your family or had a close relative or friend displaying this type of behavior, and you thought, when I get angry, this is what I do, and it's acceptable. So it's not. So how you respond is your choice, right? Absolutely your choice. And like, stop lying to yourself because it is your choice. It's not like somebody made me angry and that's it. And there's results for your temper tantrum, for your display of anger, if it's out of control. People come home and catch their wives cheating on them, right? And then they shoot the guy and the wife, and it's like, you just ended your own life because somebody decided they wanted to go screw somebody else. What is that? Not even that far. There's people that fight in bars because some guy's looking at his girl, some guy's girl. And I'm like, hey, thanks for the compliment. My girl's hot. Yeah, I know.
Maybe it's a good time to explain that there is this system in our human brains, the fight, flight, or freeze mechanism that we developed through evolution, and it's there to protect us from situations. So in the jungle, if you saw someone like a lion, you would probably start running. So this is the flight response. You leave the situation. Or if you were cornered by the lion, you would probably freeze and even faint. Faint is the absolute form of freeze. So you completely sat down, and this way, the animal that poses the danger to you, that it's gonna eat you, because he thinks you're bad food, like you're not healthy, he won't eat you that way. And then there is the fight response. So if another tribe or someone else was coming to capture your children or steal your food, this would trigger the fight response. The thing is that nowadays, this fight, flight, or freeze mechanism will get triggered even when it's not needed.
Yeah.
So and the thing is that when this mechanism is triggered from a point and after, you can't control yourself. So the best time to handle yourself and the situation you're in is before you let the FFF kick in.
Yeah, you can adjust your triggers. You can certainly adjust your triggers. What triggers those responses?
And as we both know, when we have discussed in the past, taking some deep breaths, like I would suggest definitely 10 deep breaths. 10. This is what have worked for me, you know,
Mm-hmm.
when I was angry. This is a technique I used.
Mm-hmm.
10 deep breaths, give some time and some oxygen to myself to get my heart rate a little bit down, you know. Give some time to control the situation and not get an explosion out of your
Mm-hmm.
anger.
So before you respond, you go, okay, I don't need to do that. For me, it's usually one deep breath, but everyone's different. It just takes a moment for you to go, wait a minute. I don't need to I don't need to just respond. I can think for a half a sec. So yeah, deep breaths are useful, very useful. Um, I also wrote shut the fuck up. So if you're in a situation and you feel like you're about to get upset, shut up. Just stop talking. Stop
Yeah.
talking. You don't need to argue. You don't need to run the person off the road. Just shut the fuck up. That's all it takes sometimes is you just not continuing to respond. And you go, and maybe at that moment, you go, wait a minute. What am I even wasting my time with this for? You know, this is not where I want to be. This is not the situation I want to be in. So I'm gonna be quiet. I'm gonna walk away. I'm not gonna deal with
You know, for me, just shutting up wouldn't work if I don't combine it with living the situation.
it.
If I stay, if I stay there, bro, there is a good chance I want to say something. But
So
especially when there are, you know, there are some stimulus, like for example, a family member that will that you get constantly into fights with.
right,
So what I've realized is the best thing is to just leave
leave the
the
situation.
space, leave the room, leave
Yeah,
the house, no,
yeah,
leave the space that you are together to get away from the stimulus.
yeah.
You know,
That's a good
and
technique
I've
also.
used that, and it works miracles for these stimuli that keep coming again and again,
Mm.
because it's the same person and it's a very close person to your life.
Yeah, yeah,
It's the best thing to move away at the moment that you start getting angry, you know,
yeah,
because this way you won't let the situation build up.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep.
So yeah.
The other thing that works is counting to 10 on your fingers. So when I was a kid, this is a technique that one of the psychologists or maybe one of the anger management classes they gave to me, and it worked. Is you start feeling triggered and you go 1, 2, 3, and it doesn't need to be in the air like that, right? So I would just do it by my side, and I'd go 1, 2, thinking in my head, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, count to 10. And that often does two things. It takes your mind away from your trigger, right? And it also
Yeah.
relaxes you. So that way you can take your mind off of it, relax you a second, and then you can rethink about the situation and you go, oh, wait a minute. I don't need to respond like this. I don't need to be arguing, screaming, fussing, fighting. I don't need to do this. Okay. And then you could walk away at that point, even, you know, and just
Yeah, yeah.
I'll remove myself from the situation.
And even in a bar or in the street, just go away. Don't stay there to solve anything. Just move, leave.
Yep.
Most of the times, this is where it will end. If you just leave, the other
Yeah, yeah.
person
Yep, yep,
won't come after you.
yep. Visualizing or rehearsing your anger response is huge too. So if you can visualize yourself driving, if you know that a trigger is people cutting you off the road, right? Cutting in front of you, cutting in front of you. And you start visualizing your response, not on the road, just at your office, in your house, you go, you know what, next time someone cuts me off, I've chased people home for doing that.
What?
I've chased people home for cutting me off on the highway. I've followed people to their house. Like I had some issues, but yeah. So visualize yourself not responding when someone cuts you off. Visualization can be huge, in a lot of areas of life. But right now we're talking about anger, and so if you visualize that, it could be a huge, huge lifesaver, literally a lifesaver.
Yeah. I remember I used to uh, like not envy. What is the positive word for being jealous of someone?
Admire. Oh
Admire. Yeah. Like, do you see me or?
no, your video cut. Oh, there you go. You're good.
Ah. So I used to admire people that in situations, even in movies or in my real life, in situations where I would get angry, they were zen, they were calm, they wouldn't get angry. And I was saying, wow, I would love to be like that, like I was watching a movie and something happened. Like I remember watching Surfer Dude with Matthew McConaughey. Surfer Dude. So this guy is very zen. He smokes weed and stuff, but he's zen anyway. And at some point in the movie, I watched him getting slapped by another competitor surfer. So he goes there and slaps him in front of people. And I say, okay, now he's gonna kick his ass. And I'm ready to see the fight. And he stays there. He's like, hey, dude, why? Like, no, something like that. I say, I couldn't even imagine that response. In that situation, this wasn't beyond my imagination until I saw it. And I said, wow, I want to be like that. I want to be able to handle even that,
Yeah.
instead of start punching. And I'm happy that I am in a level right now where I control myself, and I know how to avoid getting angry. Like, um, proactiveness is the best way to be
Yep.
proactive and avoid getting angry instead of getting angry and then try to handle it. It's better to be proactive and stop yourself pretty early in the early stages.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree
Yeah.
100%.
For
What else
you,
do we have here for our listeners? We have, exercise. Exercise is a huge deal. So make sure that you get regular exercise. Regular exercise in your life can make a huge deal. And, um, the truth is, when you get stressed, when you get angry, it raises your cortisol levels, and that's really bad for your heart health, for your mind health. And that's the first story that I was going to share. I ended up sharing another one, but I worked with a guy, and he would always be angry. He was in charge. He was the second in charge of the office. We had a pretty serious job there, okay? And he would get angry all the time. He was always pissed off about something. Somebody didn't do this. Where's so-and-so at? He's over here. Oh, come here. Get in my office room. What is it? Always yelling, always like this. And in the military, you can do this, right? You can definitely do this. He was a civilian. He was retired active duty. He was a civilian, but you can still do this as a civilian when you work in the military. So he's always screaming, yelling, kind of upset. And I won't say his name. I walked into his, like, hey, let me ask you something real quick. R, I'll say his first initial. R, let me ask you something real quick. What's up, dude? And he was a good guy. Good guy. I really liked him. And I said, dude, why, you know, you're always upset. You're always angry. And I just felt like I wanted to try to help you not be, because it's very bad for you. Like, at this level, you're going to end up having a heart attack. And I was serious. I felt like I always do what I feel on my heart, you know, and I just felt it one day when I was at work to say that to him. And maybe it would get him to wake up. He looks at me and says, Dave, I've had 2 heart attacks already. I have a stent. Well, what else am I going to be able to say to this guy? You know, he's much older than me, much more experienced than me, and he's had 2 heart attacks. So I didn't know what to say to him. I was like, damn, Randy, I was like, I hope that you change this, man, because your family wants you around, I'm sure. You know, I'm sure you have people that love you. So your anger can end up causing you to have a heart attack. It could kill you, not just like the outbursts and affecting other people. Like, you can literally die from the anger and stress that you carry. So it's important to take some of the tips that we gave and really like apply them. But you got to be honest with yourself, right? That's the first step. You gotta go like, yeah, I probably don't respond very well to my wife or my girlfriend when she's in my ear, or I probably get really, really overly anxious or upset when people cut me off on the highway. You know, whatever your triggers are, you got to be honest with yourself and don't say that they're not a problem. You know, because I tricked myself for years. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal.
You know, about this type of people that are constantly angry, I've been there. I would always have an anger energy inside me, ready to burst somewhere. So I will combine 2 things: what you said about exercise and what I said about proactiveness. So the most proactive thing you can do about anger, if you are a person that constantly gets angry, is to really put exercise in your life to the amount that will really make you get out all this energy, all this anger. Either if it's box, running, tennis, I don't care, swimming, whatever you like. I don't care if it's ping pong or if you just take your football and you start throwing it against a wall. No matter what it is, that you can do it for an hour until you get out the extra energy, the extra πώς να το πω?
Yeah, energy. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever it is, just do it and do it constantly in a week basis, like 4 or 5 times per week, until you have lower levels of anger inside you. Until you do that, you will still have the energy that will just need a spark to make the explosion. And I know you, Dave, that you were in martial arts for many years. So I'm sure this, both because of discipline and because of you were releasing so much energy, helped you with that.
Incredibly. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think activity, working out, they're all really extremely important. Acknowledging first that you have some area of growth there and you need to change. something else that I really, really want to make sure that I say is you you have to put forth the effort to change. Like you have to
What?
recognize, you have to put forth the effort. You have to recognize that you got something to change, put forth the effort to change, and seek a life coach, a therapist, an anger management class, but don't sit on your butt pretending like it's all good, because it's not, and you know it, and you're affecting yourself and your family. So it's
Mm-hmm.
really important.
Exactly. Exactly.
Um,
Yeah. And if
the last thing, Ryan, I was listening to one of these motivational things that I listen to all day, all the time, and it was called "Stop Giving a Fuck So Much," and I thought that is so perfect. It didn't even dawn on me. It was one of the ones that was on my list for today, that one of the channels put out yesterday or today. And I said, oh, this is one that I need to listen to later. Didn't even think about this topic and that topic, together whatsoever. And then I started
Mhm.
listening to it and I was like, yes, like stop caring so much. So I wanted to make sure we ended it with this. Stop caring so much about the little things. Like I can't I thousands of things that I responded to in anger inappropriately that didn't matter. That didn't matter. And we consume, sorry, hold on. We consume ourselves with this stuff daily, even on Facebook, right? Even
Yeah.
when you're scrolling and you're like, I need to comment on this, screw the Republican, screw the Democrat. I support Trump. I don't support Trump. And it's like, why do you care so much about what someone else support? Like, why? Why do you care so much? Why? Is it worth your energy, your anger, your time? Think about it.
You know, what you just said triggered gave me another idea I want to mention. You know, not everybody's spiritual, and not maybe all the time. So this period of in my life, I catch myself being more spiritual than I used to because I wasn't at all. But it's a period where I look inside myself. I have where I focus what I watch on my computer and everything. So to the people that are spiritual or not, I would say that if you are love and you give love,
Mm.
and you live through love, you can't be angry. You can't be giving love and anger simultaneously.
Yeah.
You either will live through love in your life, or you will live through a negative emotion. So
I
for
I agree. I don't know that it's that simple. I agree with you, but I don't know that it's that simple because I love everyone, but I still get upset.
yeah, I know it needs work, but it's a matter of changing your focus. So if you focus and think of reasons why you are love and you give love and you want to be surrounded by love in your life and with everybody that surrounds you, you can't be getting angry. And when you do it again and again, and today and tomorrow and in 2 days and every day for months and weeks, and so by shifting your focus continuously in love, this way you will be more conscious of your anger every time, and you will say, oh, now I'm not acting with love here?
Hmm. I don't
I
know.
suggest,
It's food for thought. It's really, I think that's, at least that's why we're doing this. We don't always agree with each other. It's food for thought. I,
yeah.
I don't think that for me, just being love or wanting to engulf myself with love will keep me from getting angry sometimes at
Mm-hmm.
people cutting me off on the road or something like that. I really believe more in creating habits, right? You got to create the habit of a response, right? So you identify a response that you don't like, and you go, I need to fix this or change this. How do I do that? Well, I need to do X, Y, and Z, and then now I create a habit of, instead of responding like this, I breathe or I do this or that. But
Mm-hmm.
if surrounding yourself, whoever's watching this, if surrounding yourself with love and peace and harmony, and it gives you, certainly it doesn't hurt. Certainly it doesn't hurt. But
Yeah,
if it gives you the ability to not respond negatively, then great. Uh, at the end of the day, the ball's in your court. You have to make sure that you take
yeah.
care of yourself, take care of your family, take care of the people around you, and love them. Uh,
And the reason we gave all these methods and tools is because not everything works for everybody. So whoever is listening right
yeah,
now will decide what it is that works better for him, you know?
yeah. I put the techniques that we talked about in the comments, you guys. So make sure that if you're watching this later, um, put it in the comments and or look in the comments. Try the techniques. If they work for you, if one works for you better than the other, if they all, you got to do all of them. Um, Whatever it takes, you guys. And then as a last resort, contact one of us and we can definitely set up a coaching session or 2 or 3 or 200 to make sure that you guys are really living your best life.
Exactly.
That's the
Exactly.
ultimate thing that we want everybody doing, is living their best lives. All right. I said all I needed to say. Ryan, you good?
What?
You good? You want to say anything else? You got closing remarks? I'm good.
I'm great. I think we covered it perfectly. I want to wish everybody Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays to everybody with love among your family. I hope even in this situation that we're going through, that everybody will have the best time possible
Mm.
with loved ones. Uh, what that my best wishes to everybody.
Yeah. Okay, go. Okay, go. Me too. So we love you guys. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and peace, unlimited fam.
Bye everybody.